Hi. God, I'm already self-conscious. Okay. Hi, this is Derek. Welcome to Graphic Design Club. And before our first meeting, I just thought I'd share how to, real quick, download Photoshop on a Care Academy computer and just some basics to get you started. Now, a bit of background on Photoshop. It's a software made by Adobe, and it's pretty much become the industry standard for all things digital imaging, graphic design, and all that type of stuff. Now, you may have heard of some other programs by Adobe, like Illustrator, Premiere, maybe After Effects, and usually these programs, as you'd expect, are quite expensive. Now, luckily, we already have access through Care Academy because they already bought accounts for us to the Creative Cloud, which is the place where you can download all of these softwares. Now, rest assured, they obviously didn't pay for it for us. It was definitely part of the tuition. But at least it probably has a discount for education or whatnot. So, because of that, we need to download Photoshop in a specific way by accessing the company portal. So go ahead and open that from the search bar, and that's gonna, I'm gonna ignore that also. But up here in featured apps, you should be able to see Adobe Creative Cloud, and I already have it installed, but that should just say install, so just go ahead and click that. Now, it shouldn't prompt you for your super user password, but if it does, here's the format on screen. It's ST in parentheses U, and then followed by whatever the SN number on the back of your computer is. So after that's installed, go ahead and open that up. That's not how you spell Adobe, fun fact. And boom. So I'm already signed in, but it's gonna prompt you to sign in. And you have to sign in with your Care Academy credentials, or else you will not be able to enjoy the benefits that you have already paid for. So I already have all of this stuff installed, but if you don't, you'd see it in the same format as, say, Acrobat down here, and to install it, you just click install, and it should install within like 5 to 6 minutes, depending on how fast your computer is on that given day. Now that we have it installed, we can go ahead and open it, which is probably going to take right around 16 years. That's around the average, just because of how big this software is. So we wait. And that's actually better than how that usually performs. And first off, we're going to create a new file by clicking New File. Hopefully things will happen. There we go. So here's where you specify some preset details. You can name your document if you want, or you can do that later. The main thing here is you specify the size. So first off, you want this to be in pixels. Now, the default, I believe, is inches. I don't know why, because the computer doesn't speak in inches. It speaks in pixels. So go ahead and switch that to pixels. And you can specify the size here in pixels as well. The only thing I'd recommend is to keep the smallest dimension to at least 1000, just so that it's a pretty good resolution for all purposes. The only other thing is that sometimes the color mode here glitches through grayscale for whatever reason. You don't want that because your document will literally not render any color. So you want that to be in RGB color. After that's done, click create, and boom. So right off the bat, you may notice that your layer window is down here. Now that's not ideal because the layer window is where all your elements in your document will populate, which means it will turn quite congested. Like every shape, image, text that you'll ever put in your document is going to be down here. So you want to move this to the sidebar by literally just dragging it over and have it show up there. That glitched real quick, but you probably want the channels and paths windows up here as well. I never mess with them, but they do relate to layers, so it's good to keep them there. And then everything up here and down here is pretty much just your personal preference as to what stuff goes. And whatever you roll with, you're probably going to get used to quite soon. So before we do anything, go to File, Save As, and save your document. Save it on your computer, not your Creative Cloud, whatever that is. Now, this part is very important because Photoshop, being the massive software it is, crashes more often than you'd like. So you want to be saving your work as often as possible so you don't risk losing all your work. And name that, save it in one of your folders. I'll just save it in photos. Why not? More things about the UI. Down here you can see the resolution. And then you have two main toolbars, the one on the left and the one up top. Now generally, probably the simplest way to think is that the one on the side is stuff you do with your cursor. So stuff like selecting that chunk right there, or tracing something out with pen tool, or typing. That's going to go on the left bar, and the bar up here is going to be stuff you don't do with your cursor, like putting filters on images, that type of stuff. So, going by the word photo in the name Photoshop, we're going to go ahead and open a photo. So just go to File, Open, and select your photo. I'm going to see if I have a good one from Alumni Meet. That's not on the cloud already. That one. So that's going to open right up here as a JPEG file. So to get this over here, you first need to get rid of this annoying background designation. You may have noticed that here too. That's just an auto-generated layer that Photoshop does for absolutely no reason. It's annoying. I hate it. The way you get rid of that is you just right-click on that layer, and you click Layer from Background, and click OK. You don't have to name it. And have that selected. Copy, Control-C, and Control-V. And you can go ahead and close the JPEG file. Don't need to save changes. It's just a JPEG. And now you have your image here, and you can just drag it around, move it around with a cursor, and guidelines should pop up like right there to help you orient. Now, this image is quite big for the size we have right now. So to resize, come up to Edit, go to Free Transform, and we'll go ahead and, yep. That's going to pop up the anchor points, and you just use it the same you do for like Word or PowerPoint. And you can rotate that also if you want. Probably don't want to accidentally rotate it because it's very hard to adjust it back to 0. But voila, now you have your image layer right there, and you can finally just select and delete the background. It's just annoying. I don't like it. And you may have noticed this little asterisk up here. That means you have unsaved changes. So go ahead and Control S that, prompt you for maximized compatibility. Obviously you want that. So now that's saved. So the most basic thing you can do with a photo is obviously just making it look better. So the most powerful tool in Photoshop is up here in Filter, and it's called Camera Raw Filter. So wait for that to load. And this is actually a whole separate like software from Photoshop that you can just access from within. And I'm just going to focus on the basic tab up here because that's honestly all you need for most images. And the most powerful slider in my opinion is going to be clarity. And as you may expect, it makes your photo more clear. Same thing with texture. It's going to sort of blow out these smaller details. And dehaze is pretty much if your image is like sort of hazy or dusty looking, you can bring that up, and it emphasizes some of the darker, more saturated colors. Speaking of saturation, do not mess with the saturation slider. That's going to mess up your colors. You can slide vibrance if you want your image to look more colorful. I would highly recommend against changing saturation because you might offer yourself some pain later in your editing pipeline. So now up here, these are the main sliders that I often work with. Exposure just makes your image brighter. I wouldn't mess with that too much because that makes your shadows bright as well, and usually we don't want that. And then contrast, again, heightens the contrast. Now I also generally avoid contrast because it also deals with colors, and I just like to deal with colors separately with vibrance or color mixer down here. So I would definitely recommend messing with the highlights and shadows, which is going to emphasize those things respectively on your image. As you can see here, if I move shadows down, the darker parts of the image become darker, which makes your image more clear. Whites and blacks is literally the exact same thing, except I don't know, you can have fun with more sliders, I guess. So yeah, those are pretty much the basics in Camera Raw and kind of all you need for any standard picture. And after you're done messing with your image, there's a whole ton of stuff down here that I won't go into. But make sure you click OK. That's going to save the process on your actual image. So say we're now done with this image and we want to export it as an image file. So go up here in Files, go to Export, and just quick export as PNG. And it's gonna ask you for where to save it. I'll just save it there. And boom, it's saved. And you can go ahead and save your file first, get rid of that asterisk, and close. So obviously that was some very, very basic stuff regarding Photoshop. There are plenty of very, very well-made YouTube tutorials that I think I'll try to find some and share the links with y'all. But look through that if you're interested. And yeah, just explore. Like, I've used Photoshop for like 5 years now, and I still probably know less than half of its total functionality. I'm filming this Sunday night, so I'll see you guys at the first meeting on, I think, Wednesday because of the AB schedule. And I'll try to go buy some donuts on my way there in case any of y'all are going to miss breakfast for the 8:25 start time, I believe. And yeah, I'll see you there.